Mr. Wiggly, I acoustic, yo. Hey, step inside, I give thanks and the highest praise. Ground myself to my earth, connect out the space.
Well, hello again, everybody. It's episode 31 this Sunday of the Mr. Wiggly Sunday live stream. It's really, really good to have you all along. Many thanks to Jamie at GeoSynth, Jamie Morden. He has a stream for an hour before us, and he very kindly has finished his stream kind of in time for us to start. So we should really do a kind of 70s, hey, handover, DJ style, really, were that possible with YouTube. But so be it. So thank you very much for that. I watched the stream, and it was extremely good. Hello to everyone in the chat. And today, the very first person in the chat is Piero the Acid Clown, and that's a first for him. So thank you very much, Mark, for supporting the stream as you always do. Go check out the URL and Piero the Acid Clown on YouTube. And what else? On Facebook is the main group, but it's Clownfest. If you just Google Clownfest, you'll find out all about him. And there's a whole bunch of Clownfest events coming up over Christmas. There's a great big long 7-day festival. So come and check that out. But hello again also to Sasquatch and to Azio Head and to Jen S. Hi, Jen. Thanks very much for coming on. For Kent Spong as well. Paul Artola. These names are like so brilliant. They're supporting us so much all the time. Really good. Will Joseph, Keith in Watford, Ken Lewis, Jim Glue, Inky the Cat. Inky the Cat is our moderator to keep everybody in line, so make sure you're very nice to Inky, although I don't think she's ever had to kick anyone out of the chat so far, but there's always a first time, so be nice. Ken Lewis, just everybody, thank you so much. We'll go through them again after a little while. We do have a working Mr. Wiggly Super Chat horn today, just so you know. All the money raised from this stream always goes to charity. So I have built a Mr. Wiggly Super Chat horn, which is wired up to the Super Chat thing. So it looks like this, and it's an old car horn, and it got really noisy, so I stuck some tissue kind of in the horns to cool it down, and then it just got so noisy that I just put the incinerator bucket over the top, so it looks like that. But all donations to the channel gratefully received, because it's all in aid of charity, which is really, really good. The charity is Great Ormond Street, and it's Loullamae's favourite charity, and mine too. It's an amazing charity. And so that's good. And the good news is we raised just over £1,100 for that charity after the last episode, which is just epic. So I want to say a big thank you to everybody who gave to that, and we'll keep going. It's absolutely brilliant, but thank you so much for everyone who's donated. I'm just going to run a thank you video now with all the names on it, and I know some other people have donated directly to the charity, which is also good. We don't get any money taken out for YouTube from that. The money that's taken out by YouTube I make up myself, so it all goes to charity ultimately, but obviously it saves me a little bit of cash. We're on £1,109, so a special thanks to Paul Artola, Adam and Faith, Dara and Stamiki Mooncat for donating directly. And here's a list of all the donators so far. Thank you very much.
Hey, step inside, I give thanks and the highest praise. Ground myself to my earth, connect out the space. Within the hallways of the heart, the mind in the shade of being that I am as I vibrate. Heroic, oscillate like horse crystal, mama make earth brother, I know run down and listen. I'ma say our heart is divided to sun, so we'll let it shine away. Overlap and envelop each other in love and light. Yes, simultaneously synchronized this energy, symbiotic integrity. I'm a free contemplate this imagery and this imagery as we integrate the knowledge. Wisdom, see what the symbols mean and bodies what the temple be. With a life force, energy resides in the chemistry. Bioelectric being the top and indefinitely. Receive and perceive to the physical machinery. Conceived by the source, recognize that it blessed be. Rolling and I can't breathe. Conscious living never hurt me. One love, energy and sexy. Wind your line to the champion sound. Baseman move to the energy. Sunlight bread in a one way. One love, set your heart free.
So thank you very, very much indeed, all of those, and greatly appreciated. A lot of those names in the list just donate all the time as well, so it's absolutely fantastic. Dennis the Phantom Menace, we are streaming from south of London in the UK at Wiggly Towers, which is really my home, so yeah, to be honest, I was going to try and make out it was somewhere better, but Sasquatch said it's my house, so it is my house. Asdi's saying the right channel is dead. Maybe Asdi's right channel is dead. Anyway, without further ado, we have got an amazing guest today, actually, Daniel Kushner, who I've only got to know quite recently. He is everywhere. Absolutely.
Whoa!
Man. Kent Spong. Kent Spong.
Kent Spong, can you tell me what's wrong?
Kent Spong repairs everything synthetic, basically, or synthesizer-ish rather than synthetic. Thank you so much, sir. It's just absolutely brilliant, and has given so much money, which he really shouldn't, because he needs the money himself. But thank you very much indeed, Kent. It's absolutely wonderful. I will play Kent's message that we recorded later in the show, but I really want to introduce our lovely guest. But thank you, sir. And it does prove that the honker's working, so that's all right. Right, thank you very much indeed. We have Daniel Kushner, who is, he's all sorts of things. He is behind synthfest.online, the synthfest kind of monthly enormous online synth festival, which is kind of 50-60 people passing people around Twitch. So you stream on Twitch, you can raid, which doesn't mean stealing viewers, which a lot of people think it is. It's basically finishing your stream and then throwing your viewers over to another channel that you choose. So you raid them. You say, right, I'm done. Now I'm going to hand you over. So, for example, Jamie Morden could have finished his stream on YouTube and sent everyone over to my stream, which is perfect. But YouTube doesn't offer that functionality. So Synthfest Online is this enormous, great stream that runs for a couple of days, I think. I'm sure he'll tell us all about it, with people passing them around Twitch, so that it's just this constant jam going on, which is incredible. But he's also admin, I think, on Simply Synths, the Simply Synths group on Facebook. Thank you, Jen. That's very, very kind of you. Jen S has been a previous guest on this show and is just the most marvellous lady in the world. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you. It's very much appreciated. He is also an admin on Simply Synthesizers, which is an epic Facebook group involved with Bo Beats and just a great bunch of, I think, Inti is on there as a moderator as well. And also, if that wasn't, I think he's a mod on Synthesizer Memes as well. And I just don't know. Well, basically, I'll introduce him. He's an amazing guy. Mrs. Wiggly will be on later, but I'm going to just remove her from viewing at the moment. I don't know how you have the time to even exist at the moment. So, well, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for coming on. How are you?
Thanks for having me. Excellent as usual. Thanks for having me, Mr. Wiggly.
It's an absolute pleasure. I'm
hey,
amazed
Slaughter.
you can fit me in. Hopefully there's well, I tell you what, let's talk about, I missed the Golden Shrimp Guild, which is the Discord group behind Synthfest. So those guys online who aren't aware or haven't done the Discord thing yet, it's well worth a try. It's just like a big chat group, basically, which you can make your own chat groups on. It's best to experience it yourself, but it's a really nice environment to chat about stuff. So there's lots of special interest groups on Discord. I'll put up a link in 1 second whilst Daniel's talking about how to join his Discord, because that's if you're into synth, it's probably the best place around. And yeah, tell us about what keeps you busy, really. Where did we start?
So I guess a good way to look at it is I try to make everything work for each other, right? So if the question is how do I have time for things, I try to make sure that everything is kind of like constantly running into each other. So I admin on Simply Synths, but then everybody on Simply Synths kind of has something that they want out of it. They use it as a bit of a platform for, and I use it as a platform to push my agenda for getting people streaming, and getting people streaming. The platform for that, though, if you don't stream through Golden Shrimp Guild, I still think that's awesome, and I think that everybody should just continue to share music and stream, is the Golden Shrimp Guild. The backstage for that, which is the Discord. It's a highly vital Discord that a lot of people post to all the time. If you're not familiar with Discord, it's really just chat channels, and it just hosts a community. It lacks a lot of what makes us like and hate Facebook, right? So a lot of the organization, but a lot of the creepier aspects of Facebook are not there. You really don't see that much stalking. You get to know people by talking, and that's it. You really don't get to do that much background or I'm going to take a look at your pictures from 5 years ago, and there's no algorithm that's really parsing you. So it gets rid of some of those things. What it doesn't then have is it doesn't have kind of the deeper analysis and the many kind of filtered routes to be able to go look at things. But now Discord is kind of the green room for Twitch. So if you're into Twitch streams, then Discord is kind of the background for doing that. And I'll kind of explain how we came to it but that supports all these other people's streams that and Synthfest, which is what we're really organized around then. And then I'm in a few other places, which we won't probably want to get into, otherwise it's gonna be like life story time. But I'm the main admin on Dallas Jamming. Jade left; she's only on YouTube now, and Dave asked me to run it, so I've been using it kind of to continue to push my theory of everybody start streaming synth memes, modular synthscapes, and if that's all of them, I'm not totally sure, but there's a lot of them. And
wow,
yeah, it's quite a lot of community building. One of the ways I'm able to do it so well is because of the experience of what happened with the Golden Shrimp Guild, and there's a little bit of a story to that. So in 2017, me and a friend I work with used to be on Mixify, which is like a DJ live streaming channel.
Right.
And we would listen to streams and we'd pass them back and forth. Hey, hey.
Oh, thanks, man. Get so many music. Thank you so much. We interrupt this stream to blow your horns once more. Thank you so much. Do carry on. I really appreciate that.
I think I know him. So what we did was it was mostly DJ stuff, and I used to DJ a long time ago, but my friend was DJing. We listened to the music while we'd work, and we'd pass streams around and talk about them. And we started doing streams on there, and then that got bought by Chew. And we started doing more streams and becoming more influential around that community. Chew.tv was where it was at then.
Right.
What ended up happening was Chew had very poor technology underpinning it, and it was not very strong from a community building perspective. They lacked a lot of tools. They were really developing. A lot of streams would go down. There's this thing that would happen when you'd finish a stream. It would raid you always to this channel that was like a 24/7 deep house that was unattended. It was just someone's computer ticking through things, called Beach Grooves TV, and we started calling it Being Beached. And I got really pissed off when I started talking to the guys. I was like, guys, make it better or I'm moving my community off. And they did not make it better. They, in fact, got a little bit more lax on it. And so I made good on the threat. I moved my entire community off. At the time, we're known as the Universal 24-karat Golden Shrimp DNA Anarchists. That was literally the name of the group. So me and four of the people ran
Google friendly.
Yeah. And I moved us onto Twitch. So I scouted out YouTube, and YouTube didn't work for DJs at the time, because it still doesn't, right? Because of copyright takedowns and everything, and right. Facebook as well in the United States at least didn't work, although a lot of people overseas had different laws that would apply to them, but we had about a 50-50 presence. But Twitch, the way Twitch did it was they said, hey, if your VODs will mute you, and our terms of service seemed to be a little bit lax, so we moved everybody over there. At the time, there were two people who DJ'd on Twitch regularly, and both of them were game streamers, and they just would DJ on their spare time. There was not Twitch DJing at the time.
Right, got you.
This was the first big influx of Twitch DJs. And
so when was that?
2018.
Wow, excellent. Well ahead of the curve. Wow.
Yep.
Brilliant.
And yeah, so I'm the synth guy in the middle of all of it. So my theory was this: like I do my live jam thing in the middle of DJs, so I need to be able to keep up and go long and go for hours. There were a few people who did that on Twitch prior to me. One of them's in chat here, Slaughter, say hi. And he was one of the originals over on Twitch. There's another guy named Matt Smith. There's a few others, but it was still pretty rare. And I started intermingling the two. I said, all right, well, if we want to promote the DJing thing, or the synth thing, we need to play amongst the DJs. We need to get out there and start exposing yourselves to this audience and start bringing some of them in. And it's kind of like the vision of what I thought raves were when I was like a kid and I used to go to them. You'd see live PA acts playing right next to DJ acts.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's what we did. And we started running events, and we were the first, and we killed Chew. The place we came from, they went out of business and everyone moved over. And they seeded their own little groups, and it became Twitch DJing, right?
Wow.
And I'm not sure they were ever really that in business to begin with. But I mean, like, what are you gonna do?
It's a shame when you get the golden goose lands on your channel, which is about to explode, but you can't take it through because for whatever business reasons or whatever, you go bust. Well, so be it.
Yep.
Just a couple of people talking in the chat going, "Oh, Discord." It's just a communication mechanism. It's a platform for what you make it. You know, there are terrible videos on YouTube and channels which you wouldn't be interested in. Discord just makes it happen. Just so you know, that it was set up really to allow gamers to chat to each other instead of having to chat online. When gaming is more about social now than playing the games half the time, and Discord just allows that. But it does give you a nice little hub of your own with just you and your mate, or you and your family, or you and your friends, to just leave memes and leave messages and communicate and share stuff. It's a cool thing, and it's one of those things. It's like Twitter. It's grown. It wasn't intended to be what it is, but it's grown into it, and they've continued to add functionality that makes those things work well. So full marks to you. Just wanted to kind of explain that to some of the guys in the
Discord's
chat.
excellent. I love it. It works pretty good. We're pretty much platform agnostic. We don't care if Twitch is our future or not. But Discord has never really disappointed us so far.
No, absolutely. Discord isn't a part of Twitter. Is Discord independent at the moment?
It is. Yeah, Microsoft tried to buy them, but they said no.
Yeah, so it is completely independent. I mean, the point here really is that the channel is a Twitch channel, fundamentally, and it's on Twitch because it's a great platform for streamers. It's built for that. You can hand off people around, when you finish your streams. And like you said, the Discord bit is the backstage communication kind of social bit, I guess, right?
Basically, yeah. And basically what it ended up being was we saw a lot of artist-specific Discords that were kind of dead zones. So someone would get on Twitch, they'd start up their Twitch channel, and that's good. You want people to be streaming to their own channel. So some people tried making like record labels, they try to have everyone stream to their channel, but that only helps the record label. And I was kind of like, well, I want everyone streaming to their own channel. I want them to get their own viewers and bring in their own people and get their own views and their own donations and tips and bits and money and
gotcha.
But everybody had these Discords, and I was like, there's not enough critical mass in any one of these Discords unless you're a well-known name and you walk in already. So like Colin Bender started his own Discord. He's a big enough guy that he can get enough people together. But I was like, well, let's get all these smaller independent people. Let's sometimes give them. I sing the Body Electric.
Thank you, I Sing the Body Electric. Best wishes of the festering season to you, Mr. Wiggly, and to all the chat squad. That's very kind of you. Thank you, and very much appreciated. You're already on the list of thank yous as well, which is really, really cool. Thank you, I appreciate it. So you got a whole bunch of people together rather than the one big star. And was there any kind of A&R going on that? Was there a barrier to entry or control over that in the slightest?
I control it.
Brilliant.
I dictator it. I control it because I believe in myself as a decent judge of character. I'm deliberate when I'm talking about somebody who is dramatic or who's a toxic person into the environment. And I am able to assess different sides of situations. And we have not had any kind of dramatic incident in that Discord since 2019 when I made the last kick. That's the last time I've had to kick somebody.
Well, so far so good with the Mr. Wiggly channel, but we haven't been going since 2019. We've done 31 shows. I don't believe anyone's had to be kicked out yet. But no, that's astonishing, particularly given how some people can view music and how personal it can become, like it or not. It can be quite taxing sometimes. That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
The trick was getting rid of all the DJs. Just kidding.
There's loads of questions about the kit, which I think we'll come to after the quiz. There was a comment from Jen saying, are there two keyboards of the same behind you?
No, what you're seeing.
Hang on 1 second. Thank you, Ben Breslin. Really, really appreciate it. Let's bring back MySpace. Yes, that will kill it. Right, yeah, so sorry. So Jen was saying, is that two somethings?
Nah,
I can't see what's behind
it's a Hydra synth. This is my my open table setup, so I grab stuff from my main rig, and I have second power supplies for everything because I hate recabling stuff. So I grab like one unit, I'll bring it over here, and then I just pop my iPad on here, and this goes Bluetooth to the iPad, and that's how I put it.
Right.
And you can't see it because there's some shadowing, but there's like a little nano control over there that's also Bluetooth to iPad.
Nice. How do you like the Hydra synth, just out of interest?
It's my most recent synth so far. I love it. I think it's going to have a boutique in 20 years. It's a classic.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone say anything bad yet. I really haven't.
Every time I stream with it, it sounds good. It just nails it. It really does.
I think Mark Gardner, Pierre the Acid Clown, has got one in his rack, and he's just like, yeah, this is just incredible. Everyone is just in love with that thing. So great, absolutely great. All right, so we'll talk about kit and stuff after. We'll do a quiz in a minute with Loullamae. But so bringing it up to date then from 2018 to the situation now, what are you currently kind of sitting on at the moment with the Discord and the Twitch and the organization?
So we started Synth Saturday a year and a half ago. Me and a guy named Devolta who found me. I was doing hybrid synth and DJ stream events at the time, and we even ran like a weekly, right? And just growing a lot of new synth streamers and trying to encourage people. And I kind of formalized the goal. And this goal is important. I want everybody to think about this in chat. This goal is my goal, but it does not need to help me at all. This goal is for there to be 24/7, 365 days a year, a minimum of 10 synth streams happening. That means on Tuesday morning, the least likely time for someone to stream, I want there to be 10 people with synths jamming. That's
Wow.
the goal, is to expand what we do enough. It doesn't have to happen through the Golden Shrimp Guild. It doesn't have to happen on Twitch, but I want there to be so many people generating content and sharing content with each other that is the absolute floor. Just like it is with DJing. If you go on at Saturday, there's 500 DJs on Twitch. If you go on Tuesday morning, there's like 10, right? It's low point. That's what we're measuring by. We want that to be the absolute floor. We want it to explode. This craft and this art form is original. It's live. It's amazing. And everybody who does it is someone who you rarely see like a 19-year-old who has like a billion friends walk into this art form. Instead, what you have are people who are in their late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, who are finding an outlet to once again create music when 10 years ago, everyone would have given up, right? Most of these people would have said, well, I don't really have any friends who go out anymore. Playing a live show isn't really going to work. There's no one to get published. No one's going to listen to me except for my 5 friends who make music. I'm going to focus in on my job, and that's great. Well, that's not true anymore. Now there's an outlet to be able to make music and find that satisfaction and actually have people who will listen to your music. That's the other key here is listeners, being listeners for each other. Someone who just shows up and plays and then like goes away isn't as appreciated as someone who shows up, plays, and then listens to the next guy and then tunes in and hangs out and chat and is part of the community. And that level of organic growth was the thesis for Synth Saturday. And it then became quickly, so many people were like, we want to join on, became Synth Weekend. And then it became Synth Fest. And at that point, we'd encountered so many people who wanted to get involved that a really great team was formed. And that team, they do more of it than I do at this point for Synthfest. They know exactly what to do, and they have really great ideas. And I cash no checks. That's the other piece. When I say that, it's like a metaphor. Obviously, there's no money, but I don't do any of it to like raise myself up at all. When I stream, I'm doing it so people can hear me, but I'm not saying. And you people in their 60s, absolutely. The people in the 60s, 70s, if you're still ticking, then I want you to get a camera and an interface, and I want you to get OBS. We'll help you figure it all out.
Totally.
And hit stream and just start playing for people. That's literally the whole point, is to get people to the point where they're happy to share music with each other and they're enjoying it and getting satisfaction. And I don't care if anybody's good or not. That's the other piece, because good is subjective.
Totally.
I want people to do it.
I cash, not checks. You said you got distracted about the iCash thing.
I don't do it for myself. So when I build up Synthfest, my name isn't appear on the top of it. I don't put myself at the forefront. I'm not headlining it. I'm not using it in order to grow my own personal profile, because I feel if I did it, I would be limiting the total amount of participation I could get from other highly activated individuals, some of whom are in chat. And by allowing myself to sort of get out of the way of it, it allows them to take on certain roles. And what I did in the very beginning was I showed people what to do. I said, all right, come on in, recruit people who are into it, get people into the guild. This is how we set up the weekend. This is how we talk about conflict. This is how we talk about technical issues and getting people to the very basis of being able to stream and being able to show those people how to do it, and then show them how to show other people. And then they show other people how to show other people. And now when I look at the lineup for Synthfest, it's people, I don't even necessarily know everybody on there anymore.
Yeah, the thing about self-supporting, so people come on the stream to play their stuff and hang around to watch everybody else, is a big deal. And also with Twitch, having viewers encourages viewers, because you get up the list and the whole thing self-grows. And I watch Twitch kind of all the time in the background when I'm working. I went, not so much in the last couple of weeks, but I went through a process. But I'm watching kind of non-musical stuff a lot, because I'm trying to do musical coding or music, so it would put me off. But there's things like delivery push bikers in New York, with cameras on their heads. So you can just follow them around. There's a guy in the UK who delivers parcels up north, who just drives around, and there's about 20, 30 followers that just tune in every morning and help him deliver his parcels and stuff. So it can be at any level, but you get these lovely little microcosms of just the really friendly, really supportive people. And the one thing about Twitch is that the musical side of things, even now, is still very underdeveloped. Obviously, the gaming, it started off as a gaming channel, so watching people play games, and some of the big guys up there are all the game players, but you can literally get 500,000 views going, Tommy Innit or something playing playing Minecraft will be on 500,000 views. Just crazy numbers going on. And there is a whole section devoted to music, which is everything from there's a really great duo older couple who play country music and jams and just wonderful sounding stuff, or they might be singer-songwriters with guitars, or they might be Deadmau5 sitting in his studio working on new ideas, and it's definitely a little more unknown than it should be. It's definitely a grower, I think. I mean, what you're doing is capturing the moment perfectly, because I can see it getting bigger and bigger and bigger. People don't go to Twitch to listen to music that much, but the more people you can get playing on there, the more it grows and the more it becomes a valid channel. And we were talking about earlier, just the fact that you can hand your audience off when you finish is... YouTube has to introduce that, because it's just such a marvelous way of keeping that community together. Having to get people to jump between streams is hard enough as it stands, without saying, well, who should we go and see now? I'll go and hand you off to the next shrimp member. So yeah, full marks. And there's a lot of love going on in the chat for you right now, a lot of love. So what's next, I guess, in terms of where just carry on?
Well, so I have a really good team, as I mentioned. When I say I have a real good team, we're a really good team. I don't have, right? We encountered a guy who helped change the game for us named Actitech. I don't know if he's in chat or not, but he's really awesome. And I'm kind of a big, chaotic, big idea guy, and he is the perfect partner. He executes better than anybody I've ever seen. He's super detailed. He is an excellent streamer as well, so he's participatory, a fantastic artist. And when he came on board, he helped us we were already growing, but we're starting to hit some of these growing pains, and he opened up this new wing. And so now we have Synthfest going, and it just continues to grow every single month. We do a B show sometimes, which is our non-Synthfest show, which is a little bit more themed, a little bit more wacky. And then ideas, just what else can we do that's cool, right? So we did trading cards. So there are trading cards of every single Golden Shrimp Guild streamer that you can purchase. There's a complete set of 52, and we sold them at NobCon. We had a table there, and they're really fantastic. Slaughter has one. He's in chat. I think Juanito I saw in chat earlier. He's got one as well. And so we put those up for sale because, hey, now it's like, oh, you're part of this community and you want to have a trading card? How cool is that?
That is epic. That's epic. You should do top trumps as well.
We built it off of Oblique Strategies by Brian Eno. So it's jam strategies instead. So if you have the whole deck, what you do is you grab a card from the deck, and the streamer has everybody pick something for you to then do. So mine is make your kick and bass be in stereo, which drives the guys over in like the mastering forum nuts, but I think it's hysterical, and everyone listens in headphones anyway, so I don't care about phase issues. Another guy, my friend Scott Denisi, who was the designer of the Rick and Morty pinball table, his is make a mistake, loop it, and sidechain it. That was his. So you grab one of the cards and you look at it, and it has like an idea for you that will change your direction, because you'll bring yourself to a jam, but this knocks you into a totally different dimension, and that allows you to sort of take your jam into a totally different place and inject influence and DNA from someone else. So it's about helping to expand kind of that creative reign, and it's just a cool artifact to have around.
Totally stunning. What a brilliant idea. Enormous hello to Richard Hilton in the chat. One of our greatest friends from the Sonic State, really, really good friend. And your show here was so epic. I'd love to get you back on again if you wouldn't mind, and you have some time to give. There's so many questions that people wanted to ask you after the show. He was just saying earlier, I popped it up on screen, that his son was playing drums on Twitch a year or two ago. And you do see some of those channels as well. It's almost just drumming requests and stuff. There's a lot of talent going on down there. Where can we get these cards from? Because everyone wants one.
So that's where time comes into play, right? I need time. I sold them hand to hand, and then if you PayPal me $35, I will send them to you. That PayPal, I can type in my PayPal account if you actually want to do it.
We'll pop it up. That's absolutely fine, and we'll pop it up after the show.
I will be also putting it up on Reverb for sale. And then I'm going to get them up on Amazon for sale. I'm one man on that. I'm sending over about 50 sets to Europe very shortly. they'll be available. That way you can get lead times drawn down, because when I send them over to Europe, it's significantly more expensive right now, and then
Gotcha.
it takes a while because it has to head on over the Atlantic.
Well, maybe we could get them printed over here.
We've looked into that. If demand increases, it'll make some financial sense, but right now just drawing the price down. I did 250 sets to start, and drawing the price down enough to get it viable for that. We'd need to get about interest for another 200 to 300 sets overseas in order to make sense.
Okay.
To
Well,
do
if
that.
there's anything we can do over here, being in the UK, I'd be absolutely more than happy to help out there.
Absolutely.
That would be awesome. That's such a good idea. Such a good idea.
We're going to do a 2.0 set, so if you want a card, come hang.
Yeah,
The criteria
absolutely.
for getting a card is to do SynthFest, to hang out and be part of the community. And on that note, there's some cross-pollination between communities. That's also another big focus of mine recently. It's not just about the Simply Synths communities and those other communities that I run. Other communities, kind of like the Hardware Jams community, those folks, I was one of the first people in there, but I'm definitely not one of the main people of it. I don't participate as much because I'm so focused on doing my 2-hour streams, and I wish I participated more, but there's all these wonderful people that are like Inky. So getting them to see what we're doing and getting my people to see what they're doing. And then the other one is the URL folks, the Asicon folks. We love them.
Yeah,
as well.
Piero's in the audience now. So, I mean, there should be a lot of cross pollination there. It's really, really good, because we've been doing Clown Fest with the clown stuff, which is a one-off festival every few months. But that's very, very similar kind of thing, but all sorts of challenges with Facebook and YouTube, similar kind of things to what you've been going through. So there should definitely be some cross-pollination there, definitely. And as a result of this, I'd love to come and do some stuff. So if anyone else is in the chat that wants to kind of get it together, to get in touch and shout me up as well, we'll see if we can do some stuff over here, because we can fill a time zone that is clearly probably not the same time zone as yours to keep people going.
We have a lot of European folks, so what we can accommodate everybody. We can do multiple trains. We can continue to help expose and cross-pollinate everybody. The key is, can you do about 2 hours? Because that's what makes a good live stream. You got to be able to go for length.
With a bit of a following wind and a bit of practice, we'll see.
There have been people who have asked for you, Dom. So people in the guild were like, "Hey, get him."
When I do live stuff, it's very choreographed. I'm sure I can do something. But yeah, cool. No, I'd love to. And listen, everyone in the chat, there's a lot of live jammers. Everyone in the chat's probably got synths around. So let's just, let's do something. Do a practice. Let's get out there and do it. Thank you very much, Richard, for saying that you'll come on, which is really, really cool. Richard's saying he's going to come back on, which would be fabulous. Now, it's 7:30. Oh. And we need to do a little quiz, because it's a school night tonight. So if you don't mind, have you seen any of these quizzes before?
I have. I'm notoriously terrible at quizzes and unreliable with the answers I might give. So let's do this.
You're going to do fine then, if that's the case. Unless you're telepathic, you're not going to get any answers. Anyway, so this is Loullamae in the house. Hello, sweetheart. How are you doing?
Hi.
Good. I'm so glad. Let's get rid of that off the screen, and you've got a bunch of questions ready. So let's get you going and kick off the quiz. Mrs. Wiggly's in the background. Can we see you for a second, Mrs. Wiggly? There she is. There she is.
I was about to put my hand up. I don't have to.
So she's in charge of everything, really. So let's drop you out for a second. She's going to keep the scores. So without further ado, it is time for the quiz. The horn went off. Sorry, darling. Just one very quickly. Can you say thank you, Andrew Brooks?
Thank you, Andrew Brooks.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Right, question 1.
What's the name of my elf?
That's Elf on a Shelf. So your name, you'd have given it a personal name, and that personal name is probably, I'm going with Jupiter.
No, feel free to have another go.
Vermilion.
No. No, keep on going though if you want.
Elfie the Melfie.
Close, actually.
Elfie the Hermie machine. Scowl. Harambe. No, it's not. Eli. Someone got it. Eli.
Jim Clue, sorry.
Jim. I'll get you next time,
Jim
Jim.
Glue, that is incredible.
I don't think so.
Oh! Mrs. Wiggly's in on the act. Sorry, what's
What?
happening? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, carry on, everybody.
You know what's wild? This guy's name is Eli too. How crazy is that? I mean,
That is crazy. Oh, my word. All right, so I've messed that up completely.
It's a girl.
It's a girl.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't far away from that spelling, I've got to say, as a little clue. Right, I'm going to duck out for a second. Back to you guys. It is open to everyone in the chat, obviously. If you're new here, please
Eli.
bang it in the chat.
Evie. Hey.
Well done. There's a couple of Evelyns in the chat I saw, but really, to be absolutely spot on, needs to be Evie.
I think that was the only one from Daniel. Yeah.
That is fabulous. Well done indeed. Well done indeed. So 1 point. Daniel,
I can
that's
touch her
epic.
today.
Yes, we're allowed to touch her today. They left you a note, didn't they? Which is really cool. So we've got 1 day and then it's back to no touch. Right, you ready for the next one?
What's the best colour for a sheep?
The best color for a sheep. Well, there's the most popular color, which is kind of like a dirty brown. If you go with the black, you're really talking more of a ram thing. Best color for a sheep, I'm guessing this is either a light blue because it's easy for the shepherd to see, or perhaps a fuchsia, more of a red with some light tones to it. Are we talking Ariel or Pantone? Let's see. CMKY.
This is well thought through.
All right.
Okay, so we've Slaughterhouse has got the
There's
pink.
there's
a few pinks. All right, so who had the first pink? Just Andrew Brooks. Oh man, we missed on this one.
Is it a Jane Sutter?
Jane Sutter. Yeah. Okay. Oh.
Oh, Andrew Brooks. Hold on. Is that but it's not really.
Mrs. Wiggly was looking at the screen rather than the chat there, but it is pink, isn't it? But it's a special type of pink, and that's the hard bit to get.
Is it cream pink? Like
No.
Okay. Light pink, dark pink, fuchsia. Coming back around to that, giving it a second shot. What other
Angel
types of
Delight,
pink? Neon
pink,
pink.
fuchsia. It's a three-syllable pink. Pink.
All right, so 3-syllable pink. So, amazing pink, fun pink.
Piggy pink. Anyone in the
After
chat
big
that's
pink?
anyone in the chat, you should be looking at your comments. See all, view all, rather than view favorite
Cotton
or something.
candy pink,
you know,
elephant
otherwise
pink,
you won't get
magenta
it.
pink.
Oh, that's a good guess, but not true. Magenta pink. Should we give them a clue?
Yeah.
Do you think of a clue?
It's something that you can chew.
Very good. Very, very good.
Cotton candy pink, bubblegum pink.
Yes!
Heyo!
That is incredible. Bubblegum pink. Wowzers. That is just incredible. So that's 2 points. 2 points to Daniel.
Morgan Juniper is there, but I don't know whether
He can have a point for the
And
chat.
Jim Glue as well.
Jim Glue
and,
again?
Oh, hang on. There's 3 of them all in one row.
No,
so I'm
that's
not
because
sure.
we said bubblegum. Oh, I think that might have been after. That's so funny they got them all at the same time. Asdi, don't go. It's not that crazy. We love you. It's all good in here. It's not quite synths all the time. There's a little bit of quizzes as well. Right, so let's have another question. Are you ready, Loullamae? Let's focus on you just for a second. Are you ready with the next question? Okie dokie. Here we go.
What type of stick have I got in my hand?
What type of stick have I got in my
Hold
hand?
it up.
It's the Be Good stick. It is stick of gum.
No.
Pool cue. Just thinking of type of sticks. Allen wrench is kind of a stick. That might fit in your hand.
Oh, synth addict.
Oh.
Cinnamon stick. I can't believe I went with Allen wrench. That was such a better choice.
Tooth stick. What's a tooth stick, Will Jason? Oh, I know what you mean. Like a tooth. Yeah, toothpick. We call it in the UK. Yeah, tooth stick is kind of cool. Yeah. Right. Okay. Oh my. Are you keeping scores back there, Mrs. Wiggly?
Yeah, so far there's only 2.
There's only 2. What are the scores?
We've got Dan and Synth Addict. Dan's got 2 points and Synth Addict's got 1.
Okay. Oh, Professor Dictabeat's saying this is tough. He got the record, I think, when he was on the show. He literally just got them all up until who else got them? Gaz's family. That was amazing. All right, time for a couple more, I think. Are you ready? Whoops, what was that? Falling Elves? Get it together.
How many Robux did I make from my visitors to my Roblox world?
Ah, yeah, this is a good one. So Loullamae made a little world in Roblox, which is a game where you can make a little world, and we forgot all about it, didn't we? And then you got an email today saying, congratulations, lots of people have visited your world. Here are...
I'm
Robux.
getting 800.
No.
1,000.
Nope. Lower, I would say.
Lower, okay. 199.
Nope.
400. 500. 600. 198. Higher or lower?
Lower.
All right, 80. 75. 74, 73, 72, 71. 81. 82.
Yeah!
Hey, all right. That's right. Take that, Synthetic. 3-1.
Man, you're good. This is 3. I think this is well on the way to a record. If we have another couple of questions, you could get it. Do we have another couple of questions?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, there's a question about Illinois as well as a backup, so that's kind of cool. All right, so I need to focus on Loullamae again. Stand by. Here we go.
What's in my mouth?
Going to put something in your mouth now, or have you...
Teeth, tongue, bubble gum,
Let me
cinnamon
take it.
stick.
Hold on, it's not in yet. So, okay, pop that in your mouth.
Jelly bean,
Okay, here we go.
candy, some kind of bead, breath mint, wintergreen.
Wagyu.
Wagyu's got it.
Wagyu's got it.
Yeah,
The
Wagyu got it.
Lego. Damn you, Wagyu.
Well done, Wagyu.
All right. The record is out of reach, huh?
Wow.
Joke.
Well done. Almost. Congratulations, Wagyu. Okay, so. Ready?
What do you call a pencil with 2 rubbers?
What do you call a pencil with 2 rubbers?
A redundant eraser. Dual eraser. Doorstop. Let's see. Brakes. Pencil with 2 erasers. Let's see. Not a pencil. Bad at writing.
I honestly thought people would get this one.
Pencil with 2 erasers. Dual eraser pencil. Flip and rub is what Synthetic says, which is funny.
Mistake proof. It's good. Optimistic. Nope.
Optimistic. Well, not optimistic, right? Because you're doing some serious erasing. You can't even write with that thing, so it's just an eraser, right?
It's kind of the it's kind of the opposite of a stick, I suppose. Don't let that.
Clip a sil pen. I gotta not look at comments that way I can come up with stuff because there's no way I can win over there. Dual bye bye. Make it gone, make it gone. Wrong.
Oh, maybe you've got them. I think you might have got them, Loullamae. Keep an eye on that.
Make it
chat.
wrong, make it wrong. We got double rub. I like that.
You're going to give away the answer.
Okay.
Alrighty.
pointless.
Pointless.
It
Wow.
is pointless. Yep.
Right. That was pretty good.
Good one. That was tough.
Mrs. Wiggly, that's 3 points, isn't it?
So
That's
yeah, Dan's
very
got
respectable.
3, Synth Addict has 1, and Wago's got 1.
Wow. Well, that is a very respectable result. Big up, lots of love in the chat for Wagyu and Synth Addict and our wonderful guest, Daniel. So yeah, amazing. Big round of applause all around. Well done, everybody. Do you want to do a Mrs. Wiggly's big question?
Sure.
Okay, are we going to do Illinois, or are we going to do?
We'll do your big question, and we'll do Loullamae's big question.
Do you want to leave mine to a little bit
Yeah.
to the end?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, shall we do a question on Illinois? We wanted to check your... do you want to do this one, Lily? All right, here's a question about Illinois. That's a bonus question. We better bring us back into the real world.
What percentage of Illinois is farmland?
Ooh.
Good question.
I'm going
Good
with
question.
89%.
9, did you say?
89.
89. Oh, that's more like it.
75%.
Oh, middle for diddle.
76, 74, 73, 72, 71, 89, 86,
Yes. You got
87. All right.
No, but
Not
somebody in
really.
the chat did.
Did they?
85.
Yeah, Bedford Studios.
Oh, cool.
80, yeah.
It's 80%. But, I mean, yeah, what did you say, first of all? 70, 87 or something.
I said
yeah, it's a lot.
89. That was the first one I jumped out with.
Inky got an 80. Didn't see anyone before Inky.
I didn't know. It must have been really quick. I missed
Nice
that
one.
Sorry,
Well done, Inky. Okay, let's do one more of those, and then you can have your big question, Loullamae. You ready? I better give you another little... It's not really a quiz, but have one.
How many feet above the sea level is the highest point in Illinois?
I'm going with 1,500 feet above sea level. If we're talking about like a building, if we're talking about pure land, it's probably like 1,100. The
In the middle?
Cahokia pyramids in southern Illinois, I think probably get to like 900 or so.
It said the highest point in Illinois, if you Google it, which probably doesn't help. I'm not sure if the highest point, I guess somewhere where you could stand. You're very close.
Like 1,600 feet or so.
Oh,
Someone's been Googling.
Yeah, somebody got it.
I think that might have been a Google, but I can't take it away from you. Well done, Get So Many Music.
All right, get too many.
Big up for the 60-year-olds in the chat.
Yeah.
Still got
Geographics
that.
expert.
Still got that Google foo going on. Brilliant. All right, Loullamae's big question. We've started doing a bit of a big question, but we would have
There are
normally done
pyramids.
this later. But it is a school night tonight, so it's going to be bedtime fairly soon. Let me get rid of this.
Cahokia pyramids, by the way. Yeah, there are pyramids here.
Really? Wowzers. Really? What, like proper huge?
Yeah, they're as big as the pyramids in Egypt. They just aren't as cool looking because they're covered in grass and they're made out of dirt instead
Built
of
by
rock.
proper Egyptian, from
Built
Egyptian
by
times?
Native
or-
Americans, yeah.
Wow.
Native tribes, indigenous people.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. With probably, presumably, no knowledge of what was going on in Egypt.
Nope. They would
That-
not, they would
that
have been totally
is
isolated from each other when they did it.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's got me. All right. Well, back taking things back down a notch. Let's have Loullamae's big question. You ready?
What would you be doing if you weren't doing music?
Okay, so if I wasn't doing music, what would I be doing? So, So like it's a cascade of like interests. I'm deeply interested in a lot of things, and music just happens to come first. But if I wasn't doing music, I would probably, I mean, for a little bit, I'd probably play video games, read book. But I also have like a lot of really great friends that I love hanging out with, and I spend time with them whenever I can. I'd probably travel a little harder, honestly. If I didn't do music, some of this budget would probably go to getting out and getting overseas. So I'd probably go with that. A little more travel.
Wow. That's good, isn't it? That's good. Without wishing to denigrate what you've just said, Wagyu says Auntie Margaret's fishnets.
Oh.
Which I have no clue what that was an answer to. I would love to know. I presume it's not what you'd be doing if you weren't doing music, but they're very, very odd. We've got a few. Being rich, says Karos.
It might have been for what's in my mouth.
No, you don't. You can't have that as well. I just can't work out what we might have said to trigger that answer. Inky says being depressed. Rustic would be going back to prison. Piero, hello Piero. We've been talking about you a lot. If you nipped out, hopefully you've caught it all. But
you can do both, honestly. Mostly being a test subject is just laying in bed while they do stuff. You can bring them.
Kent would be looking for the on switch. Kent Spong, can you tell me what's wrong? Dusty River would be playing with trains. Gethsemane would be watching streams on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, drinking. We've got Juanito saying the top of the Willis Tower is higher than the highest point of land, you think? Yeah, quite possibly. Richard Hilton says teaching. That's a great one. Absolutely,
I did teach. I was a professor for a while. Yeah.
Professor of what? That's amazing.
Business. I taught in the business school at Northeastern.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crikey.
I did that before I got back into synths, right? So I'm doing the corporate job and I did the teaching thing, and then I decided I wanted to cut down on how much time I was spending doing that because life is short, right? So you pick one or the other, and you put your time into what satisfies you as well as meets your responsibilities.
Absolutely.
So the combo was my regular job and then doing music for myself.
That's amazing. A man of many talents. All right, we have one more question, and what we're going to do is have a listen to some of a jam that you've done. Well, take things down a bit, and then find out a bit more about the geeky stuff with the tech and anything you really want to talk to, which would be great. So, we have Mrs. Wiggly's big question, which is very exciting. Let me just get rid of that. This comment. There's one thing about this system which is quite hard to knock out the comments sometimes. But all right, Mrs. Wiggly's big question.
Well, my big question is, earlier before the show off air, you mentioned that you're preparing for your Arnica festivities, and that the whole family is tidying up the house. You're hoping that the show just went on forever so you could avoid doing your chores. What I wanted to know is what's the worst chore that you get tasked with when it comes to Arnica? Well, you really wish that you didn't have to do.
So it's cleaning up the various storage areas, right? So I've got a perverse love for doing dishes. I don't know why, but I've been traumatized by having to do so many dishes so much that I've kind of started to make my peace with it. And it's dishes. Vacuuming is fine, whatever. But really, it's the girls' toys during the week will all start to stack into certain places, and we need that to empty out so that we can put coasters and drinks and ice. And that's actually tough because every single one of those toys goes to a different place, one of the two girls' rooms or a playroom, or if it's art, we need to put in the art bin. And so that takes a long time, and it's very tedious. And normally we'd just let that ride because it's kind of organic because they use that all the time. So what'll happen as soon as everybody's gone is it's going to start to regenerate itself as just a spot for toys. So it also feels kind of useless, except that we need to put the stupid drinks there while all 21 people are here. So that's definitely the worst part of it.
Yeah, that would do me. Thank you very much. Well done. Thank you so much.
So maybe tonight, Mr. Wiggly, you can just go on a little bit longer.
Yeah, just keep it going. I cleaned up morning. I've already done my fair share. There's just a lot more to do.
Excellent. What's this out of your mouth? Exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back afterwards and check the stream. I have no idea. Auntie Margaret will be shaking, I think, because she normally watches this. But anyway, thank you so much for taking on all those questions. Big up the chat. You got more than anyone in the chat, so that's a definite win-win
right.
for you, which is fabulous.
Once again, Dick DeBeat, I beat you. Take that, Dick DeBeat.
Take that, Dick DeBeat. We will pop on just quickly one of the jams. Now, your jams are Twitch-based and tend to be quite long in general. I've pulled out something that I hope everyone will like, and we'll give you a little blast of that whilst it's on. I have to leave the mics on whilst this is running, so hopefully it won't be too noisy. Let's make sure people can hear that. Actually, what I want to do is this one instead. Just hold on a second. Let's quit that one. This one. You hearing that okay?
Yeah. Cool. Nice.
So this is one of the live jams as part of the Synthfest Online crew. We'll just clear a little bit of space in here, and then we'll come back and you can ask all of the techie questions that you want, and we'll carry on for half an hour or so. So thanks very much. We'll be back in 1 second.
Kent, I don't know if you can hear me, but yeah, there are plenty of people who do. It's all about the specific skill set you bring and how you want to present it. Okay. It's very hard to pick the right bits to play, to be honest. Let's remove Mrs. Wiggly. Move it forward a bit. Yeah, I'd say every stream has like probably 4 or 5 big moments, and sometimes it's about the transitions or getting to those moments.
Right.
The concept between that I try to have in my streams is it's improvisation. There's some stuff pre-built. There's beats and there's some banks that are loaded on certain devices, but a lot of it is straight up just improvisation, right? And the first thing I try to do is I try to start low, build up a mood, try to find some smaller grooves that I know I can work with later. Some big elements. Sometimes I'll prepare like an opening jam that I can deconstruct as I go and bring back elements throughout. But the point is then to try to bring it to a mood, cast a spell, and then bring them to like one big moment where you can provide like catharsis and then start to transition out and rebuild. And you want to provide music like that which people can listen to in either a direct or indirect way. They can spend more time focusing on chat or doing whatever they're doing in their house, or exercising, whatever, if they have headphones on. You don't want it to necessarily be like, hey, here's a performance and here's 5 minutes that I've rehearsed and performed for you, and then here's another 5 minutes.
And concentrate.
If that's what you do, though, you could.
Exactly.
But that's not what I'm doing. I'm thinking more like a jam band.
It's live radio, really, which is the best thing. So I guess the ambient work. Someone asked whether guitars were allowed.
Yeah. So our rule is if it has a synth, it's good to go for Synth Fest, and that rule has been broken once by someone who just showed up with a guitar, but they had probably like 40 pedals, and what they did with the pedals was they started live looping and they started creating like soundscapes and a lot of ambient sound. So it wasn't like someone was showing up and playing guitar. They were instead using it more as like a source for sound generation, and then allowing more of like an ambient mood to be cast. It was awesome. No, we're not going to complain if something like that happens, but the spirit of it is to grow the synth community and not to grow a guitar community.
All right. So people in the chat, chuck in any questions that you like, please. My first, because we'll talk about synths and stuff, but my first question was really about the visuals. And I asked you when you sent me some of the things to watch, like how it came together. And you've got someone else basically running the visuals through your stream. Is that right?
So on Saturday nights, I do a show called Dark Passage, and it's a partnership with me and a fellow in Austin, Texas named Abstract AMCR, who's a fantastic visual artist. And our concepts are the same. What I'm doing with music, he's doing with visuals, and I send him a low latency tunneled stream through audio movers, so he's able to react in near real time, and then he sends me his visuals back, and I just simply combine them in OBS. And I have a giant green screen that I hang, and it's a pain in the ass to put up in the studio, but then there's always a little bit of artifacting because the light isn't perfect, but then we're able to combine for an interesting visual show and an interesting music show. And we broadcast to my channel, and he broadcasts to his channel because he has his own audience.
So this is in real time. So you're just go through that again. You're sending a stream to him. He's adding graphics and sending it back, or he's adding. Wow.
Yep.
And so the master output is coming from his side effectively by the time. So he's doing the combining.
If you're listening on his channel, the master output is coming from his side. If you're listening on my channel, the master output is coming from me. So that's
epic.
Yeah, it works really well. What you can't do over the internet quite yet, you can get it down to about 1 millisecond for both sides if you use some kind of tunneling technology, which means more or less real time. I'm not able to send him any kind of signal that contains time code, which means I need to tell him what BPMs I'm playing at beforehand.
Right.
And fully synchronized events with no latency that like you would see happening if we were in the same room, we're not able to totally pull off, but we're getting there, and he's able to anticipate what I do stuff, and he's able to send it back within 2 or 3 milliseconds with what he's doing.
I mean, that's pushing the boundary for me. I mean, we're all obviously we're here to talk about the synths and stuff, but that's just crazy to actually be able to route your video through him and have it sent. I mean, that really pushes the boundary.
Yeah, it's a good
partnership. So back onto the synths. So everyone's wanting to know kind of what your key kit is that you would use to be doing something like that. Have you got like a big battleship going on? How does the whole thing work? Yeah,
so it is. I think I have 9 analogs in the rig and a couple digitals. I run it all through the MX1. MX1 is probably my key kit. I'm an old DJ, right? And so I think within those terms, when I mix, I want it to be an instrument. It's the only thing I've really found that can do that. Well, I think the Blue Box is pretty decent like that. So it's a highly expanded MX1 because everyone knows the limitations and some of the kind of ridiculously limited design decisions that Roland put on there. So I have a bunch of IRA effects to get the other USB channels open. And then I bus all my drums through the TR8S. That way, TR8S has uniquely well suited for drums master effects, so specifically the compression on it. So I usually go a little hard on the compression because I like hearing a little bit of pump happen, a little bit of saturation sometimes, and then I can also throw everything through the scatter effects in order to create transitions. So that includes other devices. So everything goes through TR8S and then into the MX1. On its own, if I only had the TR8S, I think I could probably pull off a pretty decent show. So that's probably one of my most heavily relied on, if not my favorite piece of gear. A lot of what else you hear is DB01, because I am bringing more of like a techno vibe a lot of the time, or the DFAM. The DFAM is, I don't really use it to create drums. Instead, I use it to create sort of percussive oriented grooves, but not necessarily drums exactly. Just I like using the pitch envelope on it so that things have sort of an atonal piece to it, and I use its sequencer a lot in order to split things and create lots of crazy sounds. I have all my modular and semi-modular equipment except for Matriarch running through a Strymon Night Sky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so everything outputs to a Bafako mixer and then into the Strymon Night Sky, and that allows it to then, I'm able to give it a new sheen to it, right? And then I have a Strymon I have a Strymon Big Sky for just kind of bread and butter space adding on the send on the MX1. My other kind of cornerstone gear, I mean, I run it off of a Kai Force. I used to run it all off of an Octatrack. I know no issues with the Octatrack. It's just every few years I like to switch it up and go to a different central station. But I refuse to do more than one central station at a time. Some people have like an Octatrack and a Force, and then they'll have another thing over here and like a, Circlon somewhere. But my mind doesn't like doing that. I like to be able to focus in on just one central thing, because in a subtractive synth, pretty much that day you pretty much know what it does, right? Very few times you need to like really go deep on it. Hydrosynths you need to read the manual a little bit on, but even then it starts to reveal itself pretty quickly. But these central units, they take a lot of time, and in order for you to get good with it, you need to practice and you need to use it. And if you're constantly switching it out thinking there's something better, the grass is greener or something, even if it is, and that's subjective, what you're doing is you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because you're resetting yourself and your muscle memory and your ability to do things quickly and not think about them. And if you're jamming like I do, where you're real time, you need to be able to move fast, get a new sequence up, you need to not be trying to figure out gear. It needs to do what your fingers think that it's going to do, and it needs to have been practiced before. So I stick with the Force right now because I love Ableton. I used to use Ableton. I do sometimes do just straight Ableton jams, and the Kai Force kind of ripped off a lot of Ableton sequencing. And so it is probably the central unit. If Ableton came out with a Push 3 that was standalone, kind of like how Native Instruments has a standalone Machine Plus, I'd probably switch out the Force. But on the other hand, Akai's done a really fantastic, un-Akai-like job of supporting Force and the new MPC line, and I've been remarkably pleased with how it's come along.
With the new update, right?
Yeah, the new update's fantastic. The new update, if I play a small gig that isn't with Plumbus, the live band that I play with another guy, it's still a synth band, but I would probably just bring out DFAM, Sub-Harmonicon, and a Kai Force, and I feel like I could probably do it all with just those three things, because the Kai Force has that much flexibility as a groove box.
What percentage of stuff is set up ready to hit play then on a gig like that? How much of it is starting from an empty slate, and how much of it is pre-programmed, if you like, just roughly as a percentage?
If I'm doing like the 3-piece gig with the Force, the DFAM, and the Sub-Harmonicon, well, if I'm doing something like that, I probably have a bunch of clips that are loaded in as well. So there's a certain amount of preparation that is then jammable from there. But at any given point, I know I can hit something reliable that's going to work.
Put back, I'm a big fan of Surgeon stuff, which is techno modular, and he keeps switching stuff up as well. But the setup I liked was he had an Octatrack. With everything synced to that, and basically he had stuff he could drop to on the Octatrack, probably stereo track actually, do you know what I mean, some basic tracks that he could always drop to, so there's kind of a safety net, and he found that the more stuff he did, the less he needed to drop to that kind of stuff. So he might drop in a background noise effect or something like that, and virtually everything would come off of the modular. But I can see that, and I can see the Force doing exactly that job. I mean, there's a lot of Force love in the chat. I think Kent Spong's got a Force because Inky the cat was saying how good they are. Talking of which, sorry, just 1 second, I forgot to say a big thank you to Inky, because look what arrived. It's even down by my feet.
Inky, what'd you do?
Inky has lent me her MPC Live.
Awesome. Go Inky.
So I haven't had an MPC. I used to do some demos for Akai back in the day, but they had on MPC 60 and stuff. But I haven't had one since then. I've been a deluge Octatracky kind of fan, and I can't wait to try it out. And I'm so pleased that you were saying about the updates, because for such a long time Akai had a reputation of releasing things a little bit too early and then playing catch up and never quite catching up, and the Force was sort of an example of that until so recently, and I'm just blown away. So thank you, Inky, that's absolutely wonderful, and I'm going to set off this week and see what I can come up with. That's really, really cool. So
yeah, you're gonna love it. It's a fantastic unit. The operating system is great. It's super deep. It's still a whole world within itself with its own operating system to learn, and there's some MPC DNA in there, but it's got its own real vibe going on.
Nice.
So enjoy.
Oh, no, I can't wait. Really,
like
really exciting. No, exactly. No, I really can't wait. And also, I want to, get involved with some of the modular bits and pieces around here. So there's just something. I mean, I bet everyone wishes they had an old original MPC 60, but there's just something solid about the way that thing kind of held it all together and the simplicity of use. Watching people back in the day using that to make beats on, you could see instantly how, almost from a non-technical music background, it was just so easy to kind of make what you wanted to hear. And that's the guys I used to work with back then, because I was involved with quite a lot of hip-hop, and you could just see how natural it felt to work with. Kind of weird. I would never have been able, if someone said, okay, you're working with these guys, come up with something that's easy for them to make what they hear in their heads come out, I would never have come up with that. But it was just pretty. Even things like holding down a pad to trigger the hats on 16s. So you literally hold the pad down and push it to get to change the velocity levels and stuff. Not tapping it 16 times, just holding it.
Yep. Yeah, it works great like that. There's a lot of great smart features that have been derived from playing. A good central unit should be something that feels as much like an instrument and as a little bit like a full-blown recording studio, because it should be something you play. And that's really the alpha and omega of it. Sometimes you're going to be on and sometimes you're going to be off. Sometimes you're going to have good nights, sometimes you're going to be bad. If you're live, sometimes the audience will react and sometimes they won't, and you need to be able to have played enough that you know how to switch it up and that you know how to react and change what you're doing in order to take it where you want to. And the key to that is kind of what we preach in the Golden Shrimp Guild, which is do it. You can't really plan it. Instead, do it. Hit start and just start going, twisting knobs, finding out what it all does, finding out what you like and responding to what you like and seeing what other people like that you like, and just do it. And the best way to learn that unit is to, once you get it hooked up so it's got time code with some of the other instruments and you have some of the technical bits worked out, hit play and just start like banging away and try every button and see what it does. And the best way to really learn anything. Find out how to break it. See where, what parameters you can spike and see what combinations do cool things. That's half the fun is exploring.
Totally. And also going on a stream for 2 hours or going on Synthfest or just going on, Twitch yourself with 2 people watching or whatever is just such a great way of getting you to produce stuff. I only really finish stuff when there's a deadline, whether it be a working music thing that I'm having to do, or whether it be like, well, that you've got to play this, at Clownfest in 2 weeks. It's got to be done, And so I don't necessarily sit down and jam stuff out. But if there was like, well, you've got to do 2 hours, rather than getting stressed about it, got to do 2 hours at the weekend. It's like, well, do you know what? I can sit down for 2 hours with nobody watching and come up with some really nice stuff. So why not let other people watch? It just focuses the mind. It's a bit like doing a stream every week. I'd never make videos if I didn't do the stream every Sunday.
Because then you'd be thinking about making them better. But sitting down to produce a song is something that is important, and a lot of people do it very well. But there's also a component to it that I think is a little bit disruptive from a creative standpoint, which is that if you sit down to produce a song, you're committing to paper. You're painting on the canvas. It's got to be the thing, and if it isn't, then that can be stressful. So it creates a level of pressure that jamming doesn't, because no one's going to go back and re-listen. I mean, we did today, but generally no one goes back and re-listens to old VODs of jams that you did. It's a live experience to be experienced in that moment, and half the fun is when you're with somebody and they discover something cool and a groove that hits, and they let it ride and they develop it. And if they're still searching for it, they're still searching for it. But you let go of the pressure that stops some people, quite frankly, from doing things, because it doesn't need to be good. It just needs to be honest.
that's something that's never occurred to me. Right, and that is really interesting because everything I've put out there, I assume someone will Google it and come across it and be analysing it. And actually, you're right; they are very much for the moment, and far too much concentration might be on the fact, well, I couldn't possibly do that because it's not perfect, or it didn't work in that little bit. That really fell apart, or I had to stop it, start again. I failed. You know what I mean? And it's never
anxiety.
really occurred.
That's pressure. That's the guy on your shoulder that says this isn't good enough, and your hardware jam is not good enough to show other people.
Yeah.
And nonsense. It's always good enough to show somebody. If you do something, it's like the old Muppets show where if you could whistle, you should show someone you're whistling.
Yeah.
It's about sharing it and being part of a community. And some people will respond to it, but you're not like generating like diehard fans. Instead, some people are going to listen and they're going to enjoy it, or they're not going to move on. And you shouldn't worry about that either. The whole point is to enjoy it, find personal satisfaction. And if you run it up the flagpole, someone else will like it. They'll salute. And you'll start to generate a good number of people that provide that satisfaction back to you for what you enjoy. So
I mean, that's massive. That's a complete change of perspective for me. You saying that. Oh, Piero's saying the same thing. Like, love your attitude. Yeah, the control I place on everything that I do usually means that I spend far too long doing it, and it's kind of immaculate in my own sense. I get it to a point where I'm not sure I could make it much better. Nothing's ever finished, but even for a live performance, it's not not pressing play, but I'm rehearsed and ready, and I know exactly what's going on. And I've never actually thought of like, well, okay, let's just
you know what ends up happening, man? So you go live a lot, you'll eventually get good at being live, and you'll pull off stuff live that you never pull off recording.
Right.
And you'll be like, oh my god, how do I capture that? And you can't, because replicating is almost impossible, and it'll drain the spirit of it. And it's better than, for me at least, my experience has been I create better music in that live environment, and I can track it all if I want to into Ableton while I'm streaming, and then later go on and grab clips and throw them together, and that's how I create outputs and give stuff to the label.
So you're literally recording everything as part of the jam as well, just so that you, as in MIDI communication, that you go back and edit rather than a stereo feed, multi-track. Right, okay. So you can go back and get those happy accidents and those happy moments. Because that used to happen when I was a live player in rehearsal studios. That's what jamming in the rehearsal studios was all about. You do come up with something that you would not come up with, independently, because as long as you were playing with good musicians, a bass player would do something and you go, wow, that really works well with this. And it's something I miss, really, when you're not particularly playing with other people too much. And actually, when the other things are machines and ideas and knobs and frequencies and different sounds and slightly random effects and stuff, yes, I'm sure you can get to that, which is brilliant. Yeah, totally refreshing attitude. Really, really good. Bit of a life-changing interview, I think. This is fantastic. Thank you so much. Your enthusiasm is definitely catching, and you can see that that going on in the chat as well.
Well, I hope a lot of people. Or even if just one person decides to jump in the guild and do a synth fest, if you want to jump in and do a synth fest and start to experience what it's like to be part of this kind of like creative mindset, which is extremely low pressure and high satisfaction. And if you want to start to talk about, some of the technical challenges with getting a good stream going and what you should be thinking about as far as presentation and how you can collapse some of those challenges so you're not stressed about them. Because that's another key is, getting a stream is sometimes a fiddly thing, right? Because there's lots of cameras and audio. And so you want to get as much of it as possible, unless you are a broadcast professional, to the point where it's like automatic. And when you get to that point, it's flip a switch, hit play, and hit start in the stream. And you can take it to the point where your creativity is really the only thing that's driving. We have Maz in chat, and I really want to give him a quick shout out. He's one of the other guys who is on Twitch before me, and he is a fantastic jammer. His style is really unique, as is most people who play a lot, but he has almost a progressive metal kind of capability. He thinks in many different time signatures. He thinks in lots of different modalities as far as music theory goes, and he's able to live jam some epic streams and create things that have their own sound, to the point where if you're familiar with what people are doing, just hearing it is instantly recognizable, because a Maz stream never sounds like anything anybody else's stream. It sounds like a Maz stream. He has created his own sound, and it's one of a kind. And that's what happens over and over and over and over and over again. Moonhouse is in the stream. Hell yeah, Moon. Him too. Moonhouse is a guy out in San Francisco who is, again, he has a unique presentation, and he has all this wonderful gear and absolute fluidity with it, and he's able to jam and bring it to a point where if you're listening to it and you hear a ukulele and you hear modular synths, you're like, Moon's playing. And Laser is here too. Oh my God, Laser. Okay, so Laser is kind of the concept of like, he's a full-scale artist, not just as the music. He does the music as a jam. He's like, it's almost like a approach of like a sculptor. He builds things. He built masks for us. He 3D prints custom things for use within his jams, and he does a level of interaction which is unique with chat and all these chat games that happen. We have Slaughter. So Slaughter is doing a stream coming up. Slaughter is going to do a stream, and it's going to be like a many day long stream in which he takes his entire modular system and he hooks it up to Christmas and other holiday songs and just runs it and lets it happen and tweaks it as it goes. OpenSet is in stream. Okay, so OpenSet is amazing too. OpenSet is a guy who is a professor out east, and he has an electron microscope, and he jams on synths, and he sometimes read poetry. And people love it, and it's awesome. And guess what? No one else on the planet is doing that. It's one of a kind. Juanito Moore is in chat. Most of you probably know him. He builds all his own shit, and then he comes on and he streams.
Yeah, I mean, Juanito was an early guest on this show, and it was a high point for me. If only because he built his own microphone the night before, because his microphone broke, so he's hanging on this tiny little microphone.
Yeah, he could build a microphone if you give him enough time, though.
Just brilliant. Yeah, no, he did. We heard it. It was amazing. I mean, what's really funny is that Maz and Slaughterhouse, I did some streams on Twitch without announcing anything, just when I wanted to sort of test the system out and just learning how to get OBS working. Got to be about 18 months ago, and I just sort of went up for a couple of hours whilst I was making sure everything was working and tried to see what it would look like. And both those two guys, I'm sure it was Maz, Slaughterhouse, and possibly a couple of others, both appeared on my stream and said, "Oh, hey man, you're streaming. This is amazing. Right, come and join our little crew. We'll tell you when we're alive." And they are. And I haven't really streamed since then, but they are still friends on Twitch that pop up. And every time I go on Twitch, they're about to go live or something. And it was incredibly welcoming, because I knew nothing about the whole organisation. But it's so funny to see them arrive here, and it's
In the Discord, we have a channel called Where Are We Now? And the idea is if you're hanging on a stream, you post it in there, and that way we can all find each other out there.
Awesome.
And so what might have happened, I don't know if this was it, but we hunt people all the time. If you're on Twitch and you're doing synth streams, we see it. And we're like, let's go look. And then we drop it in, and we all go check it out and try to get the person to join. And yeah.
Wow. Awesome. Well, look, let's get that link out there first of all. So go join the Discord, even if you've never tried Discord. There is an invite here, so if you just hold on 1 second, I've got an invite here. You have absolutely nothing to lose, but this sounds amazing. So there is an invite to join the Discord. It'll prompt you to either go to a website, or you can they've got apps for it as well. That's gone out in all 3 channels. The other link to look at, I mean, you can get everything from there, but the Synthfest, I think it's synthfest.online, isn't it, for the
synthfest.online.
So that's the link for the actual Synthfest itself, if you want to watch it and not take part in it.
The concept there is everyone streams to their own channel, so it's if you're not aware where we are, it's kind of hard to promote it. But if you go there, it's always focused like a laser on the live, on the currently live streams, right. So it's easy to figure out where everyone's hanging.
Perfect. Okay. Massive is saying I can smell oscillators over Ethernet. I mean, he tracked me down somehow within, literally within about 10 minutes. And I think I was like, wow, I ended up chatting to him more than I did trying to, get anything going musically. More questions from the chat will be very, very welcome. We'll probably wind it up a little bit soon. I had a couple more actually, social media based actually. There's a whole bunch of people here that are kind of making music. They don't particularly necessarily have too many followers. They're all trying to get the word out there. Clearly, something like Golden Shrimp and Synthfest is a good way of perfect way actually, of getting your music out there, getting it heard, maybe make some monetization out of Twitch as well. You were saying that you were actually generating revenue by being part of this and by building the audience together.
We can very quickly get someone to monetization on Twitch. You need 50 followers and you need to do 7 streams within a month. So you jump on a Synthfest and then you're going to get those 50. or you just jump in the Golden Shrimp Guild and we'll just, whip people until they hit the follows. And then you just got to go live 7 times within a month and you're monetized. Once you're monetized, you can accept bits and you can accept subs. And those are, Amazon is taking some of that money. You could also do straight up donations that are just direct to you if you post your PayPal account. But the idea behind it is, let's say you're like me, you're 42 years old, and if you haven't discovered any of this stuff and you do your first stream and suddenly 50 people are not just tuned in, they're listening and they're chatting and enjoying what you're doing. When else was the last time that you were able to do that?
No, exactly. And then, the Twitch handles all the announcements, all the rest of it, and the opportunity to make a little bit of cash as well is always is brilliant. And actually, it's self-generating, because to get to a level where you are able to take subscribers on any income, so I'm not suggesting we're all going to retire off the back of this, but to get to that level is a big hurdle, and lots of people just don't get there because they're not part of any community and that would build it. Hey. Who would dream about going to jail, but jail was a draw in a free? Is that a lyric? That's lost. Wagyu, thank you so much for the £5 donation. I really, really appreciate it. So yes, what I was going to say was, aside from the obvious, come join the Shrimp Guild, tips on social media, on getting out there. Obviously, if you just spam Facebook and Twitter and everything, say I'm about to go live or listen to my latest album, I'm blind to that stuff, and just as guilty as everyone else of doing it. I'll spam today saying live streams going up, but really all the people that come and watch it know about it already. Is there anything you can say to people starting out, or people that are sitting there building their tunes?
No kind of like the rules of the road for the groups that you're in, right? So they're not all the same. So if you go drop a link in 20 different synth groups on Facebook, well, it's like kind of like the same people for most of them, and we kind of know, we start to like understand who's trying to self-promote and what, and you got to understand the different kind of ways each group approaches it. In Dallas Jamming, you can, as long as you're not toxic, post it, go for it, do it. In Simply Synths, we don't want people to promote early. We want people to promote when they're live, actually, or when they're about to be live, because otherwise what we found happens is there's a bunch of people who be like, yo, next week I have a stream, I'm playing for an hour, and then 2 days later, and every single day they'll try to post it. And so that's, we try to keep a line on that so that it's when live. I personally feel, because the live streaming thing is near and dear to my heart, I field a lot of those, and I try to make sure that those are well taken care of.
Richard Hilton, you are a god among men. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Sorry, I think I got most of that. Do continue if you were in the middle of it.
One guy who everybody knows is Florian, the Audio Pills from the Bad Gear, and he's done the best job of anybody in the last year of promoting himself, because not only does he cast a wide net with a consistent level, he approaches each group for what it needs, including synth memes. You can't self-promote in synth memes, but you know what he does is he usually creates some kind of meme through his show, and he posts it in there. And it's not promoting his show directly, but it's extending his reach into the group. So everybody in synth memes then has a laugh about it as well. So he's thinking about it in kind of like a multi-dimensional way in order to promote his show. And it's extraordinarily successful. And it also backs up with a high quality output. His stuff is really good.
Wow, that's interesting. So it's not by accident then?
No, he has a good strategy and he executes it flawlessly every week. We have a joke in one of our mod chat rooms that we know it's Friday because we've just seen 10 announcements from Florian about Bad Gear.
You can't knock it. It's absolutely incredible the way that thing took off. But it's interesting to see the very interesting for you, I think, to be on the other side, to watch the way that whole promotion works. I mean, he could build a business by promoting other people, to be honest, the skills that he's introduced.
You got to think about these groups. They're on Facebook. The synth groups are not necessarily exactly music groups. They're sort of, but they were gear groups. It's more like walking into a music store, and if you want to promote, there's usually in front like some kind of cork board, and you can put flyers there. But if you just walk up to somebody demoing a guitar and you're like, I'm playing at the Abbey this weekend, they're gonna be like, okay, go away. You don't want to annoy people that way. So instead, and they might not be into the same genre. You're not in kind of like the same exact demo. There's music groups that are focused on music, and there's synth groups that are focused on synth. So if you think about what some other people do that is really successful, is you provide what the synth group needs, and inadvertently they get your music. So if you're doing interesting combinations of several different synths and you put a precise technical readout, and within the presentation of the video, it's like you put text up. Maybe I've seen a few people do this. Jay does this, Inti does this, and it's like, this is the Big Sky reverb. I have it patched into this, and you're explaining this. That way people watch, they slightly get an education, but they're also listening to just like a really good jam.
Yes.
Well, that's another interesting way to get around some of our guidelines that say no promo spam. And if we drop that filter, by the way, the groups would be useless. If we just say everyone post all your releases, it would be endless SoundCloud links and DJ mixes, and it needs to be some kind of curation in order for it to happen. Hardware jams, you need to be doing a hardware jam. You can't post something that isn't a hardware jam into it. So when we promoted this show in there, when I posted in there, Inky came back to me. She's like, "Hey, I need you to take that down and repost it and put a jam in the comments because you got to qualify."
Yeah,
that's the rules.
Same thing happened to me the first when Inky was on the show. And I was like, I can post this. And she said, no. And she didn't even come back. She just knocked it out. And I went, well, where's my thing gone? She went, no jam. So then I recorded a jam about Inky, stuck it back up there, and it was all good. And I was like, yeah, okay, props. I can see that. And you're right. I mean, if you could just submit, push a button and submit to 30 different places every time, it's 30 times useless, isn't it? It's completely rubbish. If
you tailor to each one, and each one has a thesis, right? Hardware jams is hardware jams. Dallas jams is about Dallas jams. Simply Synths is designed, it was born in the wake of kind of like a big issue, and it was designed to be like, all right, let's go from the ground up and build a group based on exactly what we think an ideal group would look like. So it's supposed to be there to be able to handle some issues that you probably wouldn't ever do in other groups. Like, you don't want to be talking about social issues in Dallas jams, and if you do it in synth memes, it's gonna be a big fight. But you don't want to post a synth meme or something like that, something really rowdy, into Simply Synths, because in Simply Synths we're trying to say, all right, how do we reach other groups like LGBTQ community? How do we reach more women? How do we bring more people into the fold that way? Some of the things that Ben Jordan have posted have been really important, and working within that group, we're able to say, all right, so this is the arena where we're going to try to grow this awareness, and synth memes is over here is kind of like the clearinghouse for memes, but it's also get rowdy over here, right? You can the rules are definitely lower over here for conduct, and we want to talk about more serious issues as well as just gear review and coverage within Simply Synths. So within Simply Synths, it's really important to be thinking that's a place to post a topic that is important for conversation, and we're going to moderate it. If a topic that is likely to be dramatic gets posted in there, then what'll happen is you'll get a moderator or an admin, so myself or Bo or Alex, and we'll decide to own it. We'll say, okay, we have the next few hours available, and we're going to moderate it to make sure that the conversation doesn't get toxic, which sometimes means we're going to poke people and say, hey, calm down, change your attitude. And sometimes people don't like that, but we need we don't want to censor it. We don't want to not have the conversation. We want to allow people to talk through it, because we think that the actual act of being in the conversation can sometimes expand minds, even if not everyone agrees. And so we give it what we call active moderation, where we're involved and we review every single comment, and we take a look at it, and we allow it to have its own life. And we just make sure that it doesn't get off the rails into someone being really toxic, really mean, saying awful things. We try to keep people from getting personal when they're talking about a topic. And so that's what Simply Synths is all about, is kind of these deeper levels. And not everyone reacts very well to that. If you get into a fight in Simply Synths and you get really nasty and we boot you, chances are you're going to go to another group and complain about how awful we are. And chances are I'm the admin of that other group that you're going to and complaining about how awful we are.
Yeah, there is that, I guess. I mean, just quickly, hi, Tim Grogan. It's really good to see you getting here live, which is great. You'll come to the end of the show in a minute, but it's great that you made it.
Hey, Tim.
I was going to say that moderation is just so vital and so hard. I mean, it makes such a difference to toxicity compared to communication. I mean, the old adage of attack the argument, not the person, pretty much solves most situations.
If you fail at both, attack the admin, which I get.
Yeah, well, exactly. So the ire is aimed at you, but people just, it's such a contentious thing, because I found things like gear space gets really, really contentious. It's just if you have a different opinion to someone. I had someone screaming at me once for saying that the synth on a particular record that had come out was a Jupiter 4 instead of an MKS 70 or something, when I played the synth on the record. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay. It's
What are
like,
you gonna do about that?
But also, I'm guilty as the rest of them of getting wound up when someone says something that's just so clearly just ridiculous. It's very hard not to say, "Oh, you're so ridiculous." Don't be such an idiot. Instead of saying, "Actually, the reason it's not that is because of this," and history show whatever. My experience is different. It's very easy to attack people in that way, and we're all guilty of that. But the moderator's job to try and steer the path down the thing, I can sure is not a very thanked one. I'm sure you have to have a very thick skin, I think. I'm not sure I could take the rejection, to be honest.
Honestly, the people who get the worst, I've been doing this for a long time, and the people who are the absolute worst and unreachable, I'm quick to get rid of, which means that it doesn't necessarily get back to me right away. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it lights me up, but I have very thick skin, and I'm also very confident in what I do. And I speak confidently, and I know what a good, well-run community looks like, and I know what a community with purpose that is building something also looks like, and I've achieved results. So there's no point in anything that I do where I don't want to say where I don't question myself, because questioning yourself is part of it. But I don't take action without internal deliberation, and when I do choose something, I know that it's confident, and I have an excellent track record of keeping communities clean. If I was in charge of some of the other more dark places on the internet, they would be clean. I know it, and they would have built something bigger, because that's what I bring to the table. An element of leadership that allows people to think flexibly as well as respect each other is about teaching other people to do those things, and then you start to have that community create that, and suddenly you're not the one getting attacked, because everybody, it's like antibodies. Everybody's learning about like virus, right? And all these antibodies will come in the minute they start to detect those things going wrong, and that person that gets the program or they don't. And the point is then once you go through that initial process, it doesn't pop up too often, though there are occasionally some people who are authentically malicious and trying to exploit people and create division in order to drive clicks or coverage. And what we've seen mostly is the few times that has happened, the synth community is not big enough that they survive very well. The synth community is large in a way, but it's also very small and insular. And if your point is to divide people in order to develop clicks, we saw somebody a few years ago who had a pretty successful YouTube channel, and they came out against Dawless jamming and said it was just a fad. And very shortly after, because what they didn't realize was a lot of their viewership was based on people who did Dawless jams, and it dropped heavily. And then they switched formats, and now they don't even post anymore. It's part of a community that you're in. You're not broadcasting a television show. If you're not in the community, then you're missing out on the key piece, which is, maybe one day, maybe we're like politics one day where it's so big and everybody can be mean to each other. It doesn't matter because there's such a large universe of people that you'll get 1 million views just pandering to one side. But we're not there. We are in a different spot. We're in a much smaller spot where we have to come together and be good. And some of those people who are malicious need to either change how they are, change their approach, which is cynical, or they'll get booted by me, honestly. And other people will start to tune into it and figure it out, and they'll start being excluded from those communities. And I don't like doing that. Every time it feels like a little death inside doing it, because I'm basically saying that someone is now blacklisted from a lot of the areas that they're relying on. But if I detect cynicism, and if I detect that they're ruining the experience for someone else, I also don't hesitate to do it.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely. It's knowing the environment. Actually, Piero was saying he likes the chaos in his community, and there is an element of that, and it attracts like-minded, chaotic people. It's not disrespectful though. And
it's supposed to be chaotic.
Yeah, exactly.
I go there to tell dirty jokes that I would never do other places.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are definite lines that don't get crossed, and it's just the same. It's just like going to a different pub or a different club or something, and it may not be good for all, but it's it is policed in the same kind of way. Brilliant. I mean, there's going to be definitely schools for moderators if there aren't already, because it has a massive effect on any community, and really a mark of a good forum or community like that is all down to the mods. So for full marks to you, mate, and also Thanks. What you say makes complete sense as well, and it's definitely not a job I could ever do. It's incredible. So
teach people to do it is the real key. You don't necessarily need to field every single thing. What instead you need to do is help other people learn how to do it, and then they'll teach other people how to do it, and it creates a grassroots movement. If you try to do it all yourself, that's madness.
Awesome. Well, One last question, I guess. Just back on the. Thank you very much for that insight as well. Just back on the synth tip, just to placate some of the synth lovers in the chat. Favorite synth and that you own, and favorite synth that you want, or gear if you like, not necessarily synths. Anything that you desert island synth and anything you're looking to buy.
Favorite synth that I own is the Erica DB01.
Oh, okay.
Desert Island synth. Probably synthy.
Nice. Excellent.
I always bring a little bit of that weird classic rock feel into my techno. I've got an OB6 and I make it techno. I got an ARP and I make it techno. I'm always trying to keep from just being straight in the, the realm of the toolkit for what has directly been applied in the past.
Excellent. Well, Pierre is saying Daniel Kushner is an awesome human.
Right back
so
at
there you go. It comes from the clown's mouth. Any artists that should be looking out for? Obviously, that's sticking out on synth or synth.
Yeah. Hey, if you're a shrimp in the chat, can you post your Twitch link? That way, people can give you some follows because you guys are awesome, and I do this all for you. So, Moonhouse, if you're still around, Slaughter.
He's just posted it.
Inky, post your channel. Cool. I talk to Inky a lot, especially over on Facebook too.
Everyone talks to Inky. Inky's the reason this stream exists. She just said, yeah. She's Geosynths. Jamie, who was on before us, used to stream at this time, and then the weekend just kind of dropped out when he stopped. So she said, well, someone's got to do it. And
see, we got Analog Feels, Open Set, obviously Pyro, but no one needs to introduce him. Maz. There's been a bunch of shrimps that have come through, and I'm really glad.
Brilliant. And thank you for the support as well.
I hope they
really
subscribe
good.
to your channel.
Yeah.
All shrimps, make sure you click subscribe to Mr. Wiggly. Let's help expand it for everybody. And that's all I got. I guess I got to go clean now, huh?
Yeah, if you don't mind, if you have enjoyed the stream and you haven't clicked the like button, please pop over and click the like, because it gets hidden away by the chat window sometimes. And if you are new and this is your first time and you've enjoyed it, do click subscribe. That would be awesome.
If someone could post ActaText link.
They probably can't post links. So I'll tell you what.
Okay.
What I'll do is I will add them under the video after this. Okay. I can get them all from you or from the guys. That they can just email them to me and I'll get them up on there. So that would be cool. Synthetic. I think I've lost my teeth. It's just like the teeth lifting from last week. Synthetic. Thank you very much for the $5 for some cocktail sauce with this shrimp. Yeah, it's just brilliant.
I love golden shrimp. It's literally my favorite food, which is why I named it that.
No worries. Yeah, exactly. No worries, Tim. It's nice to see you live as well. So thank you very much for that. If anyone in the chat wants to come and appear on here, we're very friendly, and there's always space every now and then. So just hit me up on. Send me a message on YouTube if you want, or go to mrwiggly.co.uk. You can also get the Incinerator plugin from there if you're into plugins on your synthesizers, or on your computers rather. But yeah, always like interviewing people. So just your take. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be anything. You can be whoever you want. Just you. Come and talk about what makes you excited about music.
From the heart. Yeah.
Exactly. That's all we need. There's plenty of other streams with famous people. Not taking away anything from you, because you are a one-man mountain as far as I can see. But yeah, anyone that's from the heart, exactly like Daniel, is good for us. Thank you very much indeed, everybody. Huge thanks to Daniel for taking the time out from your incredibly busy schedule. And I know you've now got to go off and have a party with like 21 relatives and stuff for Hanukkah. And yeah, honestly.
It's night 8 too. It's the 8th night. Well, it's how it goes. And then I get to come back down here tonight and make a little bit of music. So that's it. It's all good in my book. Oh, Squirrel, post your link. Oh, you can't post links. So
I don't think you can. So if you want to, I'll tell you what. I'm in the Discord. I'm in the Shrimp Discord. So just bang them all in one hit somewhere. Either DM to me or in there, and I will immediately paste them under this video so that they will appear instantaneously.
Happy Hanukkah, Omri.
All right, man. Thanks very much. See you all next week. Same channel, same time, 7 p.m. I'm not sure who's on yet, but it's going to be good. And again, thank you very much. What an amazing interview. I've learned so much. And honestly, very inspiring as well with the live jam. The take on the live jam that is actually not going to be listened to after the live jam and just to chill out is just a completely new concept, and probably opened up a whole new world of live jamming. So thank you.
That's the idea. That's the thesis. 24/7. 365 days a year, 10 streams minimum. That's the goal.
All right, man. Let's get there. Take it easy. Good night, everyone. See you soon.
Thanks, Richard.
Urbanist connect so with the earth pipe. Link up the harmonized, bless the termite. But beyond obsolete blessings are birthright. We live a life which a lot warm in us all worldwide. Cosmic love energy, I go herbicide free, organically, me say worthwhile. Watch the way one of you take her points in terms of definitions and some termites. Get sidecheck the eye. One side is defined by one side the other. I.e. I am an ideas man. I assign too much of the qualities of my guy. Who's way back talking like there's two of me? One is a construct, one is a creativity. The supreme one, all encompassing information in and of itself. Most definitely, another life infinitely, most life infinitely. Beyond the scripture, niceness can be. Blessed be, I continually miss. Pick up a being as the infinity.